Join our first 1,000 pilots using Secsta Funding's PSI platform to raise weekly budgets from $2,000 to $12,000 weekly. We are going through the initial collection of inputs for testing our new platform's efficiency, and we have designed this testing stage to feature our first 1,000 users known as pilots at the stage. To get this stage set for the first daily transactions, alongside taking notes of any recommended changes, we will continue to develop a stable and interactive user interface for our platform and building our backlinks for the pilots. We have integrated this pilot solicitation exercise into our company's campaign page on Patreon by simply adding a new reward tier for our would-be patrons to utilize this Become a Patron button to subscribe for one of our 1,000 pilot spots. If you will want to be one of our 1,000 pilots to join in testing Secsta Funding's PSI platform's efficiency, then go to our Patreon campaign page through the link below this video and get your reward of $100 first month subscription. We only have 1,000 spots available, so secure your spot today and your subscription will be confirmed. We'll create a backlink access to the PSI platform on Secsta Funding, through which you immediately gain access to our site and start testing our platform's user interface. This test period will last 40 weeks from the date of the complete filling of our 1,000 available pilot spots. There will be 39 weeks of total exclusive access to our platform for all our 1,000 pilots, and the 40th week will feature the official launching of our platform if all bugs detected by our pilots have been fixed. So, when using our platform during this test period, continually give feedbacks that will help us fix any bug you observe at this stage. During this period, your backlink will be used to track your activities on Secsta Funding's PSI platform. What you will do is to use your backlink to attract a fixed number of marketing peers around the world. They will form the first real users of our platform after its launching, coming in 40 weeks from the date of the commencement of the testing period, and will be locked to you through your backlink. You will occupy the lead peer spot as a pilot, so that the first real success stories ever recorded on our platform will be yours and will be publicly promoted by us during the post-launching promotion of our platform. And that will give you an opportunity to attract more people to your individual investors network without paying for another advertising of your promo link. Your testimonial will be visible to all others who will access our site after the launch period, and they will be required to join our platform through your own promo link, giving you free publicity and rapid growth of your investors network, all for your own gain. With this kind of publicity, you can easily move smoothly through the 6 PSI groups on Secsta Funding. You will be the first to achieve the $200,000 accredited investor status on our platform. The essence of this test is to validate the realistic 7 days duration for achieving 1,000% profit on the initial investment of preference shareholders of Secsta Funding. You will become one of the first 1,000 preference shareholders to really enjoy 1,000% profit on your initial investment in only 7 days, and repeat this achievement in 36 to 39 weeks. This means that if you become our pilot today, you will be among the first 1,000 users of our PSI platform to raise 1,000% profit in 7 days, repeated 36 to 39 times during the test period. To enjoy this result, join our 1,000 pilots today. Each slot is reserved for $100 only. Click the link below this video to secure your pilot spot now. Whatever your weekly budget, your daily 600% investment returns can guarantee it. If you want a total income of $2,466, you will have to invest a total of $567 in the same week. However, you don't need to pull a whopping $567 out of your pocket. With only $21 out of pocket investment, you can get a total income of $2,466 in 1 week. Then the balance of $546 investment will be settled from your income through a daily installment or fragment of it invested as 20% of the ROI from your previous day's investment. Then the balance realized after all the 20% deductions have been made from your daily 600% ROI becomes your gross weekly profit. This way, funding your weekly budget becomes easy. Focus on the weekly net profit when planning your budget and see how little out-of-pocket investment it costs to raise that budget, all because the budget is raised through the support of peers added to your investment network. Without the peers in your individually built investment network, it would be utterly impossible to achieve daily success in getting back 600% return on your investment every 24 hours if you have made daily investment in 7 days of the week, with only the first day's investment as an out-of-pocket expenses, while the remaining 6 days investment are direct 20% deductions from your previous day's 600% ROI. Secsta funding is thus the first global investment network that makes it possible for anyone, especially low-income earners, to invest at their level of income for daily 600% ROI. So you too can raise in each week the following net profit to fund your weekly budget with the following low-cost out-of-pocket investment listed as follows. 1. Raise $2,100 in 1 week with only $21 out-of-pocket investment. That's a 1,000% profit in only 7 days by becoming a Group 1 preference shareholder on Secsta funding. Raise $4,200 in 1 week with only $42 out-of-pocket investment. That's a 1,000% profit in only 7 days by becoming a Group 2 preference shareholder on Secsta funding. 3. Raise $6,300 in 1 week with only $63 out-of-pocket investment. That's a 1,000% profit in only 7 days by becoming a Group 3 preference shareholder on Secsta funding. 4. Raise $8,400 in 1 week with only $84 out-of-pocket investment, and that's a 1,000% profit in only 7 days by becoming a Group 4 preference shareholder on Secsta funding. 5. Raise $10,500 in 1 week with only $105 out-of-pocket investment. That's a 1,000% profit in only 7 days by becoming a Group 5 preference shareholder on Secsta funding. And 6. Raise $12,600 in 1 week with only $126 out-of-pocket investment. That's a 1,000% profit in only 7 days by becoming a Group 6 preference shareholder on Secsta funding. So, when making your weekly budget, think of Secsta funding as the fastest way to get 1,000% return on investment in only 7 days when you join a Preference Shares Investors PSI group whose investment requirement you can afford in double fold. First, to join the group with payment of each starting fee that's equivalent to the out-of-pocket investment required on that group. Payment of that starting fee is what qualifies you to invest in that group. If you can afford the investment amount required in each group, but can't afford a double of it at the same time, it is wise to consider starting from a lower group on which you can afford both the start fee for joining the group as well as the first investment in the group. Otherwise, you may want to secure your membership in that group by paying the start fee for joining it as a way of getting accredited to rank among the members of that group, even if you immediately can't afford the same amount to invest in the group. I may have to wait until you can afford the investment before beginning your first day of investment on the group on any day of the week of your choice from Monday to Sunday. The amount for joining the group performs the function of an accreditation fee known as start fee. It is the first money you pay when joining a new group for the first time only, while you pay a fixed higher fee known as restart fee whenever rejoining the group, either after the first week's success of 1,000% profit on your initial investment in the group or when recycling your membership in the group after the first year of joining and going around all the other groups for a total of 36,000% net profit in about 36 to 40 weeks of using this platform. Once you've been accredited initially by paying the start fee on any group you intend to start on, Your membership in that group has been secured and will remain secure until whenever you start investing in it and expires after 7 days when you succeed to raise your first 1000% profit on your initial investment in that group. So, to renew your membership in the group for another 7 days, you will have to pay the fixed restart fee, which keeps your membership active through the next 7 days until you succeed to raise another round of your weekly budget fund on that group. Always a 1000% profit on your initial investment in the group, and you only have 5 back-to-back chances of membership renewal on any group, which you must do by paying the restart fee for complete 5 times before you will be allowed to join a different group at any height you aspire for at once. This entails that moving from one group to another does not necessarily follow a sequence. If you have completed the required 6 times success rate as a member of any PSI group, you can move up or down to any other group you desire to go by paying the group start fee and making your initial investment in the group after that. But as soon as you have achieved the complete 6 times success back-to-back 6 rounds of 1000% profit on your initial investment in any, you will not be allowed membership into that group again until you have gone around all the other groups in the same way, either upward or downward. So whichever group you choose to start on or move to first, it is your choice, but you cannot recycle to any group until all other groups have been joined for the same period. Hence, in a total of 36 to 40 weeks in any year, you should have gone around all groups and be ready to recycle to any group of your choice. Once again, to repeat the cycle in no particular order, but the same rule applies in all post-recycle years. You must complete a success period of membership in any group and in all other groups before recycling any group in the same year. Recycling a group means you have had 6 times back-to-back success of raising 1000% profit from your initial investment in that group already and wish to repeat membership in that group, and immediately repeat is not allowed. So you can only recycle a group after all other groups have been experienced in the same way in any pre-recycle or post-recycle year. For every recycling of a group, you pay the same restart fee if your post-recycle year has commenced, as you pay the start fee only once, and that is in your pre-recycle years. Your membership as a preference shareholder of Secsta Funding is thus graded according to the numbers of post-recycle years you have spent on the platform. You can have only one pre-recycle year, but multiple post-recycle years. A post-recycle year can be as short as 40 weeks, which is shorter than a normal 52 weeks calendar year. By your 10th post-recycle year on Secsta Funding, you will be worth $2 million in net profit and $1 million equity as a preference shareholder. And this is something to long for and look towards. There is, however, an advantage of starting from the least group and moving in a sequence of serial group progression from your pre-recycle year to the rest of your post-recycle years. And that is to be able to move along with your initial peers in each step of the way to reduce the delay period of looking for new peers to lead in each PSI group you join. This is perhaps the most important reason for taking things rather slowly than trying to go too fast, making $12,000 weekly net profit. Unless you are a seasoned marketer with a list of over 216 professional marketers who are ready to go any direction with you, you should not try a non-sequential move across 6 PSI groups. Otherwise, your results will be slower than 7 consecutive days in a single week and may result in you having a longer post-recycle years, even longer than the normal 52 weeks calendar year. So, since you don't want to have any delay on your budget funding experience while using a PSI platform on Secsta Funding, which can always happen when you attempt a non-sequential progression across the 6 PSI groups, you should completely avoid such move and instead follow the instructions stated as follows. Start by signing up on the PSI account registration page, choose Group 1 and pay $21 start fee to receive a Group 1 membership accreditation code, MAC. Go to the PSP Preference Shares Partnership Program account registration page and fill in your PSI username, password, and group MAC. 8 characters comprising of the initials of your first name, last name, username, group number, and 4-digit security code. To generate your personal promo link, example, If your first name is Irasin and your last name is Francis and your username is Stay Income and your group mark is EFT11000, your promo link will be https://psi.secstafunding.com/EFT11000. So your group mark always helps you remember your promo link. Invest either time or money in marketing your promo link using paid advertising to get better and faster cost-effective results in building your investment network. And you will receive email notification whenever a new PSI account registration is created through your promo link. But don't invest yet until you receive an email mandate to start investing. And that will be only when 36 peers who sign up through your promo link have received 36 sign-ups each by promoting their own promo link. The incentive for doing this is that you may not even have to invest any money from your pocket after joining a PSI group if you start promoting your promo link on the same day, because you earn 15% sign-up bonuses whenever a new peer signs up through your promo link, so that on group 1 you earn $3.15 as bonus dollar for each sign-up done through your promo link, and that will amount to $113.04 by the time 36 peers have signed up through your promo link. Now, with $113.04 sign-up bonus already earned before your Group 1 investment, just by promoting your promo link, you already have over 5 and 1/4 times of the initial investment you will need by the time you receive the mandate to start investing in this group. This process completely eliminates any other out-of-pocket costs for investing in Secsta funding, and as well serves as a 400% money-back guarantee for your start fee, hence a zero loss and zero out-of-pocket investment for you. This is therefore the best way to use the Secsta funding platform. Once you start investing, keep to the daily investment routine and you will recycle out your first 1000% profit on your initial investment in Group 1. After your first success has been recorded, don't stop there. It's almost a zero out-of-pocket investment by the time you are repeating a group with an investment. So pay the restart fee on the 7th day, then wait for your mandate to invest again just as before. And you can choose to either keep promoting your promo link as before or rely on the progress of the peers that have already joined your team. Either ways, always wait for an email mandate before investing in any new week. You don't have to worry about tracking what is happening in your investment network. Our system will do all the tracking for you. Your only role is to promote your promo link and respond whenever you receive your mandate to invest after paying your start or restart fee. If you don't know how to advertise your promo link, don't hesitate to visit the Lead Generation Specialist training page on TechFlip, which you get free access to as soon as you pay your start fee on Secsta funding. And that's itself a bonus because the information on that page is a paid training content which others pay over $125 for. But you access it free of charge insofar as you have paid your start fee. A link to this page can be found in the email containing your Group 1 mark. For best results, always promote your promo link using the resources you will discover on the training page. You lose nothing by doing so because you are building your investors network of like-minded peers by so doing. Following these 10 instructions will ensure you achieve your budget funding goals in due time. In total of 36 weeks, moving smoothly from Group 1 to 6 in 36 weeks, before returning to Group 1 on every 27th week, your total fund raised will be $300,000. Thus, with only $21 startup fee, you will raise $300,000 in 36 to 40 weeks on Secsta funding. To finance your weekly budget, the fastest, easiest, and best way without ever being in debt or paying back funds raised, you will need to start on any Secsta funding PSI group of your choice and know before you start how much money you will raise in 6 weeks on each group, which you will not be paying back to anyone after raising your weekly budget. Before you choose any group, first define your weekly budget need, then set a budget without worrying about how you will finance it. Don't be afraid to add all the shopping needs, then total them up, after which you look at the group's weekly budget net profit to pick a weekly funding goal that can directly cover your weekly budget need. Once the decision on which group to start on has been made, by reconciling the group's weekly funding goal with your set weekly budget, you are ready to fund your way into that group, knowing that that will be the best action to take, known as group startup fee payment, which means you have to become a member of that group. Then commence your first day's group's investment in people, which will qualify you for your first 600% return on investment in as soon as 24 hours after your first day's group preference shares investment, which makes you a preference shares investor. Understand that by preference shares investment, you are investing in people who qualify you for investment from other people. So it is a two-way transaction between you and other people also making their preference shares investment PSI in the same PSI group, only on Secsta funding. Sector funding is the first platform that has succeeded to build a relationship between ordinary people made to become investors that get 600% return on investment in people in as quickly as 24 hours. You are always standing at the middle of every two-way forward ever transactions. The transaction is one involving you at the middle making an investment to fund the budget of your lead peer, while 36 peers led into the same group by you will equally fund you individually to the extent you fund your lead peer's budget on each day through a 6 by 6 weekly budget funding matrix sorted into 6 by 1 daily transaction matrix for each of the week's 7 days. Hence, you realistically make 600% profit from your investment in people on Secsta Funding, the world's first budget funding platform built on an investment in people peer-to-peer funding ideology. According to the above transaction chart, your profit shows your position in each transaction, your ROI shows the position of the peers you lead into the group, and your investment shows the position of your lead peer receiving your own investment. The way you stand in every transaction in each group is same way other people stand also, so they see themselves on the chart the same way you see yourself positioned on it. You benefit from other peers you lead individually the same way your lead peer benefits from you, so everyone benefits mutually. You don't just move from one group to another, otherwise there is no real relationship with the others. On the contrary, you build a solid relationship with everyone you lead by spending 6 weeks of daily transactions with all of them, grouping them into 6 groups sorted in days through each of the 6 weeks, and that way each group of 6 peers is in direct touch with you 6 times in 6 weeks or 6 days per week, allowing the peers time each week to be in direct touch with groups of peers in their own team for the rest days of the week, as everyone leads a team of 6 groups of 36 peers in each group equally. This means having a very strong bond and direct link with everyone using the Secsta funding platform, the strongest investors network ever built, with the same destination, mutual interests, and the same outcome for all investors on the network built by Secsta funding. The platform is able to optimize its stability by requiring you pay the last 3 digits on your weekly profit when restarting any group's transactions for another week until each group of peers have been held in close reach of weekly transaction for complete 6 times in a total of 6 weeks. That means in any group, your profit will be $2,000 in Group 1 before each next week after restarting with $100 deducted from your $2,100 gross profit from transactions in each previous week. Same applies to other groups. Or Group 2's profit will be $4,000 after deducting $200 from your $4,200 net profit, as well as $6,000 in Group 3 profit after deducting $300 from your $6,300 gross profit. These deductions are necessary to also keep the platform profitable alongside helping all its users keep their profits without paying back funds they've raised. That's fair, right? Once you've paid the restart fee for each group for the next week and repeat same through each week of the remaining weeks, to complete your 6 weeks recycling process of transacting budget funds with peers in each group, you will be free to make the next week's first day's investment in people and get your 600% ROI the next day. Then, follow the daily investment plan by paying the fixed funds sent to your lead peer, while the peers you lead send their funds to you until the week is complete. When your 7 days investment is made not to your lead peer's account but to the Community Development Fund account (CDFA), which remains the same across all the groups. So, your 7 days investment in each week is known as a community investment, and all users of this platform make this investment on every 7th day of each week. The community investment is a repetition of the 6th day's investment, but not made to lead peers, rather to the CDFA before the day 6 ROI is received from your 6th peers group. The community investment is integrated in the platform as a condition for receiving the biggest fund from your 6 peers group on each 7th day of your investment to complete the week's investment cycle. Secsta funding pushes these funds into the capacity development budget for TechCliff's run Tech Talent Development Program, where startup founders and tech talents develop their capacities by being mentored to acquire the right tech skills to found or work in new tech startups. The number of these talents is kept at a steady growing pace through the fee waivers they get through a shared income contract structure (SICS) of admission into the program to ensure fees are not a barrier to acquiring the tech skills needed to found and work in tech startups. The fees are then paid for them for the Secsta funding CDFA income realized through community investments made by you and other users' 7th day investment through the lifespan of the Secsta funding weekly budget funding round, a program for preference shares investors. At the end of the 36th week, you would have raised a total profit of $252,000 or up to $300,000 by the 40th week, after all people investments and community investments have been made, while Secsta funding would have funded the career development of 100 new tech startups founders from the cumulative CDFA revenue. It will then be time to merge your preference share investment with your equity shares investment by allowing you to know the 100 founders that benefited from the CDFA funded capacity development program. They are the entrepreneurs behind the startup ideas you will be directly funding on Secsta Funding's Equity Shares Investment (ESI) platform. And this brings us to the link between the Preference Shares Investment (PSI) platform and the Equity Shares Investment (ESI) platform. On Secsta Funding, for realizing the goal of the entire Secsta Funding People and Community Investment Internet project, your goal is to make $100,000 investment in Secsta Funding's ESI platform from your total profit of $300,000 raised from Secsta Funding's PSI platform. This is the link. So your annual PSI net worth after your ESI investment will be $200,000 and grows by the same margin every year, but not in 12 months, rather in a total of 40 weeks from the 36th week upward. And your ESI investment is made on every 37th week while you complete the total of 39 to 40 weeks activities across the 6 groups of your PSI transactions on Secsta Funding. By the time you are making your ESI investment in the 37th week, you'll be 3 weeks away from completing your Group 6 transactions as a preference shares investor on Secsta Funding. And by the time you are done in 40 weeks, you will have $200,000 as total cash profit in net worth without paying back a cent of this amount. So, in your first year, you will be worth $200,000 In your second year, you will make an extra $200,000, so you will be worth $400,000. And as you keep making an extra $200,000 every year, your annual net worth as a PSI investor on Secsta funding will be growing in arithmetic progression by $200,000. Every user's 10 years budget funding goal through daily preference shares investments PSI transactions on Secsta funding is to hit $2 million in net worth, and you will realize this goal through an annual 10% growth in your net worth, rising steadily towards this goal. The chart above shows steady annual growth in the first 4 years. By the end of 40 months in your first year, you will achieve 10% of your 10 years $2 million budget funding goal. Hence, your net worth will be $200,000 with only 10% growth recorded. More so, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time as a preference shares investor on Secsta funding? Be realistic. It is realistic. Following the above chart, you will be worth $2 million in 10 years' time. Secsta funding makes your goal of becoming a multi-million dollar accredited investor realistic in 10 years integrated sustainable investment plan comprising active investment in people and passive investment in community, which results in $2 million net worth with your investment in people transactions and $1 million total shareholder equity with your investment in community transactions. This means exponential growth in your total PSI and ESI net worths. While the PSI net worth has been factored on your daily budget funding transactions with predetermined fixed variables of 6 groups and arithmetically rising daily investments and corresponding 600% daily ROI, your ESI net worth can be factored only on shareholder equity, given that in 10 years' time you would have invested in a total of 1,000 startups, half of which would have started generating revenue already after 5 years. So your first $500,000 shareholder equity by year 10 would have at least made over 50% ROI, worth an additional $250,000 in your total PSI and ESI net worth in years standing at $2.25 million. This is a realistic revenue projection for making an investment in Secsta funding on dry capacities as a preference shareholder as well as equity shareholder. The goal of Secsta funding is to make you an accredited investor in 36 to 40 weeks with over $300,000 in net worth when you are just getting started without any ESI shareholder equity. The requirement for being an accredited investor is to have a $200,000 net worth after your first ESI shareholder equity worth $100,000 in Secsta funding, and Secsta funding makes this happen for you in 36 to 40 weeks only. Secsta funding is the only platform that enables you to achieve your first $300,000 net worth as a low-income earner in less than 40 weeks of any year you start your first budget funding active transactions on 6 different groups of preference shares investment in people using Secsta funding to raise your weekly budget without any refund plan considered in time or in future. You get accredited on Secsta funding at the moment of contributing your first shareholder equity worth $100,000 in support of Secsta funding's empowering 100 tech startup founders annually as the world's first integrated investment sustainability internet project. Here is Secsta funding's mission. Secsta funding values your position in helping it reach its annual target through the integration of investment in people and investment in community. Secsta Funding's budget program is the ultimate peer-to-peer crowdfunding program on the internet. Joining the PSI community is indeed a ticket to financial security and overcoming financial stagnation without ever being indebted again. Yes, never indebted for life. Rest assured of financial freedom where your weekly budget is funded by other people who are doing so for their own interest. This is so cool because everyone funds everyone for everyone's own reason. How it works is simple. Whatever your weekly budget is, $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, or $12,000, and its multiple. In the beta stage of SFPSI network upgrade, you can get it funded in parts every day by 1. Building a team of 36 peers in each PSI group every week, where one 6-member group of team peers is to fund you in weekly rotational turn of 1 day per week for each of your team's 6 group of 36 peers, such that there is a unique group of 6 peers responsible for funding you on each day of the week, from day 2 to day 7, while you fund another peer in whose group you belong from day 1 to day 6, before funding the CDFA on day 7 of every week. 2. When one group of 6 peers funds you on their group's day of weekly turns, they do so in order for other groups of peers they also lead to fund them on the next day, and it continues like this every day. 3. 6 members of your team of 36 peers fund you from day to day, and you do so in the group you belong to for your lead peers too. 4. With an average 36 members network built independently through your promo link, your personal investors network will comprise 36 peers, out of which a group of 6 peers will invest in your weekly budget in each day's turn. 5. You know exactly which 6 members will fund you per day, so you know where your budget is funded from. You don't need to borrow money to fund your budget ever again. 6. Just build your team of budget funders and you will never run out of money in your wallet and pocket every day. 7. You can work with a simple team building goal of adding 6 new members to your group every week by promoting your team building promo link using low budget paid advertising, or by directly contacting 6 members of your social network and offering them your promo link to help them join your budget funding group, where people will fund their weekly budget on a daily higher group level. Secta funding means 6 and applies to a budget funding formula with which your weekly budget is raised in 6 equal parts every day, 6 days every week, and grows your daily income by 600% return on your previous day's investment in people, repeating same result 6 times in 6 weeks and earning 6 levels of profit in 6 days per week in any group of any week, as well as a higher level of earning in 6 different groups approached after 6 weeks on a previous group, thus covering all 6 groups' 6 levels of earning as 36 unique levels of income in 36 through 39 weeks on Secta Funding PSI community. So your daily group ROI is 600% and continues for 36 through 39 weeks across 6 different groups of increasing daily level profit. It works in a very simple way. Level 1 profit in Group 2 is higher than Level 1 profit in Group 1, Group 3 than 2, 4 than 3, 5 than 4, and 6 than 5. And same applies to other levels of profit on day-to-day basis, and repeated 6 times in 6 weeks of being in any group before upgrading to a higher group, and continues in same order until all 6 groups have been experienced in 6 weeks of 6 times repeated budget funding in each. While considering whether sector funding is also for you or not, you are really thinking or even trying to ask, who is sector funding for? Well, the simple response to your question is that sector funding is for you or anyone willing to let others take over the responsibility of your weekly budget funding, and you never have to pay them back the funds they raise for you daily. If you're willing to let others fund your weekly budget, then sector funding is for you also. It follows the same crowdfunding route with only 2 exceptions, namely 1. You don't have to create a crowdfunding campaign of sort with page content, perks, and rewards for backers, unlike other crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, GoFundMe, and the likes. 2. You don't need to invest in marketing your campaign with the hope to find rich backers who will generously donate to fund your campaign perks towards achieving your campaign perks. What happens on Secta funding is quite unique. 1. In place of a campaign page, you get a promo link for building your investors network independently. 2. In place of seeking out several hundreds of generous backers to fund your perks, you rely on a team of only 36 peers added to your group's investors network. 3. Each peer funds you at predetermined rates repeatedly weekly, driven by mutual interest in raising their own funds in the same way, rather than needing a perk incentive or reward to drive them to fund you at their own option, as done on other crowdfunding platforms. So, 4. If you put in just a small amount of fund into promoting your team building promo link and you succeed in building your team of 36 peers, you have 100% guarantee of raising your weekly budget seamlessly, because members of your team of peers will be equally motivated to fund your budget for you to achieve your weekly budget funding goal in 1 week, while they build their own team peers of people to help them achieve their own budget funding goals each week. 5. There is just one drive, and you don't need to overthink creating a crowdfunding campaign on Secta funding before achieving your budget funding goal. If you are motivated to build your 36-member team in order to achieve your weekly budget funding goal seamlessly on Secta funding, so will each member of your team of peers be equally motivated to achieve theirs. Everyone comes to Secta funding with the same motive, and everyone stays active with the same goal in mind. Hence, Secta funding is the world's first mutual goal weekly budget funding investment in people and community platform, building the largest investors network as an integrated investment sustainability internet project comprising of 2 investment platforms, namely Preference Shares Investment Online Community and Equity Shares Investment Online Community, each serving a unique integrated investment focus, the former serving investment in people and the latter serving investment in community. Sector funding is also about funding your weekly budget with the committed, mutual support of like-minded peers using the same investment platform for the same purpose as members of a growing global investment community, being the only place where people can realistically enjoy 600% ROI from their daily investment in people transactions on the Preference Shares investment platform. The terms of using Sector funding are not complicated. Namely, 1. You join Sector Funding Investors Network first as a Preference Shares investor seeking to fund your weekly budget by investing in people like you in order to get 600% return on investment through the collaborative efforts of peers added to your individually built investors network. 2. Your 600% ROI will be earned from the daily direct budget funding transactions occurring between you and 6 members of your team of 36 peers who form your individually built investors network. 3. Funds you received are not loans but preference shares investment made in you as one of the people invested in on the preference shares investors platform of Secta funding, designed specifically for peer-to-peer investment in people, through which every user lets others to fund their weekly budgets by first investing in other users on the same platform, after building their team of 36 peers added to their individual investors network independently. 4. You pay nothing of the funds raised from peers back to anyone, insofar as you invest actively in other people by making daily transactions that help to fund other people's weekly budgets too. 5. You enjoy 600% ROI 6 times every week because you invest in people 6 times every week plus one-time investment in community every week, which generates no return in itself. For returns only come from investments made in people, not from investment in community. Yet investment in community is required as an integral part of the investment plan, without which your investment returns will not be complete since it is the last investment you make every week before your last return on investment is received on the 7th day of every week. 6. Your investment in community is an amount equal to the amount of your last investment in people every week before your 6th 600% ROI can be received on day 7. And so, while your total 6 times 600% ROIs from your gross weekly income has been formed, it doesn't mean that's your net weekly profit. 7. Your weekly gross profit is determined by deducting both your total investments in people and your investment in community from your total ROI in each 7 days. Your net profit is arrived at when your start fee has been deducted from your gross profit on same day 7 before you repeat your day 1 to 7 once again. If you are starting a new group in any week, then in place of the restart fee, you will pay the start fee for the new group and pay the new group's restart fee when repeating the new group. 8. Since apart from the first week of joining a group with repayment of the start fee, you repeat the group for 5 more weeks before upgrading to the next group by the end of the 6th week on the group you've repeated 6 times, such that by the beginning of the 7th week, you will be making your first day's investment on your new group's level 1, and you actually pay only 1 time start fee and 5 times restart fee on each group. 9. Each group's daily transaction rate for investment in people is determined by repeating the group start fee as day 1's investment and then multiplying that rate by the daily levels number rising serially from 1 to 6 in each week, while the day 7 repeats the day 6 investment. What this means is each day 1 is a repetition of the group start fee, then on day 2, the start fee is multiplied by 2, then by 3 on day 3, by 4 on day 4, by 5 on day 5, and by 6 on day 6, while day 7 is a repetition of day 6 investment. The multiplication creates the effect of daily increasing levels of investment and sets the pace for the higher value of each next day's 600% ROI. 10. The total investment in 1 week is thus comprising of each of those outgoing transactions made in 6 incremental stages from day 1 to 6 plus the repeated days or 6 days transaction on day 7, while the total ROI comprises the incremental incoming transaction volume of funds from peers through day 2 to 7, added together at the close of the 7th day of every week before the total investment is deducted from it to arrive at the weekly gross profit from which the restart fee or next group's start fee is deducted to arrive at the weekly net profit. 11. The group start or restart fee is not an investment but a classified user transaction authorization security deposit demanded by the platform's admin to account for its operational cost, system upgrade, and platform maintenance costs. The admin is solely responsible for ensuring that log issues are resolved and that user data are protected. And these fees are part of what enables the admin take on this responsibility exclusively, such that the platform can only be profitable to its owners when all these management costs have been deducted on a monthly basis. Hence, the balance after all expenses have been made becomes the gross profit of the management team in charge of this platform. The management of Secsta funding is the prerogative of the founders of TechClip, And so all revenue generated from fees paid are direct allocations to the management team prior to any expenditure from the steady flow of cash generated through the start and restart fees. Apart from these fees, all other transactions on the preference shares investors platform on Secsta Funding are either peer-to-peer or for specific purpose projects like the CDFA transactions, hence do not count as revenue to the management of Secsta Funding. Nonetheless, the management tracks and reports every transaction made by its users from day to day in order to stay accountable for the growth of the platform. However, the financial audit of the revenue generated by the management of Secsta Funding takes into account the total transaction volumes per minute, hour, day, week, month, and year, while segmenting the transactions in these different orders to show the demarcation between non-revenue generating transaction volume pegged against revenue generating transaction volume. Without the revenue generating transactions, which consist of the start and restart fee, Secsta Funding would be a not-for-profit internet project, and that would be against its own very nature of being financially viable, sustainable, and self-sufficient or independent of external funding in the form of equity capital from an external investment community. On the contrary, Sector funding enjoys a non-relative but absolute degree of financial autonomy and independence because it builds and manages its own dual-dimensional independent investors community and fast-growing global accredited investors network from which it generates its revenue and makes profits from the fees paid by the investors when joining, start fee, and repeating, restart fee each group. 13. The community dimension of the platform, powered by the CDFA revenue, is channeled to the building of capacity in entrepreneurs and talents for equipping them with the right skills and knowledge to found and work in tech startups. The first aspect of this is the weekly community investment made by all users of the PSI platform on Secsta Funding, through which the revenue channeled to the training and mentorship needs of these techies is generated. While the second aspect is on the ESI platform, when the annual shareholders' equity is utilized as investment capital for funding hundreds of the incubated startups whose founders are among those entrepreneurs empowered alongside 1,000s of talents equipped with the right skill to prepare them to work in the new startups that receive the investments of ESI shareholders' equity plowed into them in total amount of capital that is directly proportionate to the total number of preference shareholders who make it to the $200,000 accredited investor status in 36 weeks and have what it takes to keep their net worth at $300,000 within 36 to 40 weeks of actively funding their weekly budget on the PSI platform on Secsta Funding prior to the deduction of their equity worth $100,000 made possible through transactional commitments on the PSI platform, requiring daily investment in people in a forward-ever transactional model of receiving funds from others and sending funds to others too from day to day, following a stipulated sequence and transactional daily rates that actually correspond to each week's funding goal. 14. Your weekly budget funding goal is not the total of 600% ROI in 1 week, nor the total profit in 1 week, but the net profit in 1 week, which is determined by subtracting the total investment from the total 600% ROI to get the gross profit, then subtracting the restart fee from the gross profit. Your earnings on Secsta Funding are called ROI, return on investment, because it is the direct income generated from peers you lead after you have invested in your lead peers. It is a two-way relationship with you at the middle of your lead peers and peers you lead. You maintain upward and downward relationships all through your lifetime usage of this platform. When you do this, earning 600% ROI means your income is 6 times of your input, known as investment, each day. And you receive such income, known as daily 600% ROI, for 6 days every week, while you make inputs, known as investment, for 7 days every week. Because you must invest in people before you can expect a return on investment in people. That's why only 6 of your investments generate the output of ROI, because only the first 6 investments you make in a week is considered investment in people, hence are revenue generating inputs, while the 7th investment is an investment in community as a way of keeping you responsible for supporting the success of the community development mission of Secsta funding, empowering the successful building and funding of 100 new tech startups incubated on the Tech F3N1 platform of TechClip annually. So, your community investment or 7th investment made on the 7th day of every week is not a revenue generating input but a social responsibility input required of all users of the Secsta funding platform necessarily. 16. Your use of this platform from the time of your registration for a PSI account alongside payment of your starting fee on any group of your choice means that you agree to the terms for earning higher income each next day until you repeat each day's earning 6 times in 6 weeks before moving to the higher daily earning on a higher group through its 6 levels. Thus, your daily earning and weekly net profit automatically rises by 100% of the first group's weekly net profit every next group up to 600% by the time you reach the 6th and last group before recycling to group 1 to start off on a fresh sheet in any new year. After a period of 40 weeks required for completing any ongoing annual budget funding cycle. This kind of income can only follow the same systemic pattern only on Secsta funding. Each day's fund you send to your lead peer merits you 600% from your 6 peers team on the next day. Each individual fund sent by a peer in your team on each day is equivalent to the first fund you sent to your lead peer multiplied by the next day's number or daily levels number in any PSI group. As you have a lead peer, you belong to your lead peer's team of 6 the same way your first 6 peers belong to your team of 6, and each of them also lead peers in their own teams. So the same way you send daily funds to your lead peers, your own team of 6 send their daily funds to you, and each of them equally receive daily funds from their respective team of 6 peers, so nobody is left behind and no one owes another any fund received. Your lead peer sends funds to their own lead peer daily. You send your lead peer daily. Your team of 6 sends funds to you daily, and their own team of 6 respectively send funds to them daily. And so the wheel keeps rolling every day with funds leaving one peer's wallet to the other. Each fund you send, especially the first in each week, opens the door for you to be sent funds also, and for each of your team of peers to be sent their first day's funds also. Hence it continues in this way. Each peer's first day of sending fund opens their door as well as the doors of each of their team of 6 peers respectively to be sent their first 600% ROI on each peer's day 2, just like you received your first 600% ROI on your day 2. So, day 1 fund goes around on each and every day as the PSI platform keeps growing in number daily. This is a modular proof of the efficiency of the PSI 6x6x1 peer-to-peer funding metrics on Secsta funding. This model assumes that you always stand at the middle of relationships with peers, that you receive funds from 6 peers rotating their places daily, while you always send your own funds to your lead peer from day 1 to 6, while your day 7 fund is sent always to the CDFA. The arrow direction pointing to and from you shows the direction of funds transacted, while the arrowheads pointing to days show the clockwise direction of rotating peers and your transactions from day to day. The superscript figure on dollars in the green boxes shows the qualifying fund you receive on each day from peers rotating their places from day to day. The model is also built on an assumption that your position is equivalent to that of each of your peers. Hence, each peer has a personal investor network of peers that is identical with yours, and that way, the same group of 6 peers can always fund your weekly budget on a daily basis by rotating their level placement from day 2 to day 7, covering the 6 levels on any group in 1 week, thereby funding your weekly budget same way as you fund your lead peers' weekly budget, and their own team of peers fund theirs as well. The third assumption of this model is that you only need 6 unique peers to repeatedly fund your weekly budget. But you can only start funding the budget of your lead peer among 5 others in the peer team of your lead peer when you have already had 36 peers signed up through your promo link. The fourth assumption is that you need 36 peers, not for your sake of funding your budget only, but mainly for the 500% money-back guarantee on your group start fee, as well as for supporting your initial investment to make it a zero out-of-pocket investment on your day 1, while you still have a balance to ensure zero risk of funding your weekly budget on the PSI platform. On the other hand, 36 peers will fill your team of first 6 and spill over the remaining 30 to fill the team of 6 of each of your first 5 peers in your team of 6 peers, making set to autopilot on the platform, so much that unless you are not among your lead peers' first 5 peers in their team of 6, you are not really building your team of peers yourself. They will be there in a matter of hours after you sign up for a PSI account to join your lead peers team of 6. So, your 36 peers are directly building the team for your team of 6 peers. If you had your team of 6 peers built by your lead peers' effort, that's why they are your lead peers anyway. So you have to play the lead peers role for your own team of 6 peers by building their individual team of 6 for each of them when you promote your promo link so that 36 peers can sign up through it. Every peer does this for their own team of 6 peers, So every peer plays their lead peer roles respectively for the benefit of their individual team of 6 peers respectively. Hence, every peer leader doing the same promotion like you helps their first 6 peers on their team build their own team of 6 peers each. And this lessens the actual time it takes to start having peers to fund your daily budget. Furthermore, the model assumes fifthly that if you have to wait for a mandate before your first day's investment, why the mandate will be sent when you have had 36 peers signed up through your promo link, you will have a smooth running week because your first 6 peers will receive their own mandate just on the next day after you received your mandate. And this creates a chain motion of each peer receiving a mandate to fund a lead peer just a day after a lead peer received a mandate to fund their own lead peer, and so the wheel keeps running. Finally, it assumes that the number 36 implies that all members of your first 6 peers will benefit from your promo link if you benefited your 6 peers from your lead peer, and also implies that all peers unanimously invest in paid advertising to promote their links on the same day of their sign-up to ensure the process of team building is automated, since the investment in paid advertising of each peer's promo link is recovered alongside the start fee paid to sign up. Hence, there is no loss whatsoever. And still, the first investment fund to be made on the first day on the group will equally be covered if the paid advert is done with only $29 on the same day of sign-up, making a total spend of $50 that gets recovered before day one investment is made. That's why, as soon as your promo link has been confirmed active in the email sent to you after creating your account on the PSP account registration page, you should endeavor to invest in paid advertising of this promo link on same day, and by so doing, you will be fueling the same engine on which the general system runs on autopilot for the benefit of everyone using the PSI platform to raise their weekly budgets. You too will raise your first 1000% profit on your initial investment with zero risk and zero out-of-pocket spend if you invest in paid advertising of your promo link on your same day of sign-up. This is the model, so you are ready to start running now. Jumpstart your platform usage by reserving your pilot spot. Click the button below this video to secure your pilot spot right away. Thanks for taking your time to watch this video. See you on the inside of the PSI platform on Secsta funding, coming soon after the launching.